Well, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that AI is just literally taking over absolutely every aspect of our lives, and more specifically in the automotive world, it is impacting how we sell cars, tires, service, maintenance, finance. Every department of the dealership is being impacted by this revolutionizing technology. Now, I don't want to be talking to you about different technologies that your dealership could be using, but I want to show you the other side of the table and how your shoppers, whether they're new car shoppers, used car shoppers, tire shoppers, service and maintenance shoppers, parts shoppers, are using AI to find you and how that is going to impact your business. I think this is going to be a massive eye-opener. It's definitely going to blow your mind, and you'll be able to get somewhat of a vision for what's about to happen, how to position your dealership, your department, to make sure that you can ride that wave and don't become obsolete by not being positioned at the right place for how the market is about to get impacted by this technology. So as you know, for the last 20-25 years, we've been relying very heavily on Google as a dealership to be able to find us the ideal customers. And why was that? Well, because Google was where intent happened. So if you were, for example, in the market for an EV, then you would say, what are the best EV vehicles I could buy? You'd put it into Google, and then Google would spit out a bunch of videos that you could go watch, a bunch of links that you could visit, and just educate yourself one click at a time on what are the best vehicles out there, gather some information, and make an educated decision. Now, up to today, people didn't complain that much about how laborious this particular process was. You needed to Google something, hope that you have the right questions, and then investigate all those different links, read all those different links, and then gather the information, synthesize this information in your own mind. This is why the shopping cycle on the new car side of things or the used car side of things could take weeks and even months, because to gather all the information and to understand all the information, it was very time intensive. This is the same thing for fixed ops department. What are the best tires for a 2023 Hyundai Santa Fe? Again, same absolute process. Google is going to be providing me with a bunch of links that I'm going to have to investigate manually, click on them, read them, and synthesize the information myself so I can make the absolute best decision. Now, the fun part is that now we have tools like ChatGPT or Perplexity, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more in a few minutes, that can do some of that research for you. Now, ChatGPT, you're probably very familiar with it. So if we put the exact same question as we did into Google, we're going to be able to see ChatGPT now searching the web. You saw what happened just here, and then synthesizing the information that it's finding on those different links. And it's doing it for us. So if I click here on sources, then I'm able to see what links it actually went and read and synthesized for me to bring me this information. So you can now see how much speed is added to the process. Now, the problem with ChatGPT is that it doesn't always crawl the web. So if we go, for example, for our tires here, you see it is searching the web, but it doesn't always do it. Sometimes it will provide us an answer, not necessarily based on search, but based on its knowledge. We can see here again with this question that we've asked that it provided all the different sources, and you can see they are numerous. It would take hours for somebody to actually go and click on every one of those links, read all the content that's there, and then be able to synthesize that information manually. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, ChatGPT doesn't always search the web. You see, in this particular case, it didn't search. It's actually spitting out the information straight from its knowledge, which has a cutoff time, so it's not always the latest information. So a lot of tools are evolving, and ChatGPT is probably going to get better and better and better at this, but there are tools like Perplexity that will always crawl the web for the answers. Think about it as Google on steroids. So Perplexity AI is an AI-driven platform designed to provide accurate, relevant search results through natural language queries, questions. It leverages sophisticated algorithms to understand and respond to complex questions, delivering concise and contextual answers. So let me just put in again the questions that we've asked ChatGPT, and you'll see exactly how Perplexity is going to answer. So you see immediately when we ask the question, the first thing it's going to do, it's going to go and look at different sources. And again, just like with ChatGPT, we can see from which sources it's gathering the information, and we can decide to remove some of the sources if we don't find them credible or we don't want answers coming from those pages to be part of the synthesized answer. Now here we have this beautiful answer that's coming out, and it's talking about the best luxury EV, the best all-around SUV. We're talking about EV vehicles here, best affordable performance EV, and it's giving us a bunch of information that we would need to find ourselves manually, and it's doing it all automatically. And then once I finish reviewing this information, I can actually continue asking Perplexity for different other questions. So just by clicking plus here, what are the top EVs with the best range for 2025? And it will just again go search, show me the sources, 16 sources. How long to go read 16 different pages? I now have the answer within a few seconds. And then let's say that I'm coming from a cold climate and I am concerned about the performance of the EV vehicle in a colder climate. Then I can ask very specific questions and have Perplexity help me through my research. 23 sources. How long would that take me to actually go read those 23 sources to be able to get the answer to the question that I have? Once I have that information provided by Perplexity and I'm ready to make a choice for one of the vehicles that it recommended after the research, now I'm going down the rabbit hole and looking for which are the best Hyundai dealerships in Toronto, for example, where I should consider purchasing my Hyundai. Look again, it is going through all the different websites of the different dealers and looking for the best dealers out there. And it will offer me things like what are the best Hyundai dealership in terms of customer service, which one have the top rated reviews. I might be interested in knowing about promotions and specials. So as you can see, it's literally doing all the shopping for me in terms of information that I might want to consider, reviews about the dealership, specials. And this is not just in the case of new car or used cars. As I've mentioned, it's also the case in terms of fixed ops. So what are the best tires for a 2023 Hyundai? If you remember when we were doing that search on Google, we had to click on all those links. We had to review all those links. Well, here we have 13 sources that were investigated and we have perfectly synthesized information. Now, I want you to take a second here and realize another thing that's happening. Can you see that as Perplexity or ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot or whatever tool that you're going to be using or that your customers are going to be using rather, where are the ads? The potential prospect is no longer being put in front of the ads that your dealership, whatever it's service, parts, used car, new car, are running to try to intercept at the top of the page that click in favor of your store. The only way for you to be part of the answers that ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini or Copilot or any of the other LLMs that you might be using or that your customers might be using, you need to have that highly valuable, authoritative, expertly written content on your website, or these engines are not going to have the ability to grab that content and bring it to vehicle shoppers, tire shoppers, service shoppers, and provide them with the answer and position your dealership as an option. Ads will become completely invisible to the search process of vehicle shoppers, service customers, parts customers, tire customers. The only way for you to be able to be part of the information that's being gathered and synthesized is to have that quality content on your website. That's the first epiphany that you should be having, because if you don't have a process to have high quality content on your website, then you're going to be in trouble. Same thing here if, for example, put our search query that we did about rotating BMW X3 tires. You see again, 17 sources. Beautiful piece of information that's all being synthesized. Don't have to read through it all. I get all the high and hard ones within a few seconds. And if I am ready to buy, then I can just have Perplexity again or any of the other tools help me figure out what are the best places to buy my tires if, for example, I'm in Seattle, Washington. Isn't this blowing your mind right now? Are you getting a vision for how vehicle shopping, service shopping, parts, tires, finance, anything that your dealership is in business to sell is going to be shopped in a very different way, in a very time efficient way by potential prospects than what's happening right now on Google? This is not just something in the future. This Perplexity tool, to give you an example, is just like going vertical in the last few years since it was launched. It grew by 1.3 million visitors just in the last 6 months alone. So these tools are being used more and more and more, and the more customers are just starting to interact with them. They just don't want to go back to the old Google way. They just absolutely want to continue to use those tools because they're so much more efficient and provide such a higher quality of information. How much time would it take you to investigate 25 sources to be able to get the best information and be able to interact with that information, whether it's with custom questions or related interactions that you could have with the chatbot here? And this is not just true for information in general. Let's say, for example, that I'm in Boston and I'm looking for a Silverado, maybe a used Silverado 2022, 2023, and I don't want to go to Auto Trader and Cars.com and Car Gurus and every dealer website. So what do? I just ask Perplexity to do this for me. And it's going to find on these different car portals, these particular vehicles that would be potential good buys for me. It's providing me all the information there. How much time would it take me to actually go through those 5 or 6 or 7 different portals in your market to find a used car that I'm looking for, when Perplexity can do this for me without seeing ads, without being bogged down, without wasting a few hours to be able to do this and then interact again with Perplexity or any of the other LLMs to be able to find within Boston who has the best 2022, 2023 Chevrolet Silverado possible. And then if I'm focusing on one particular dealership, or I have a few on my short list and I am intrigued or interested to know if they have any trade-in incentives for Chevrolet Silverados in Boston, then I can also ask that question. And even within a website, I can find all the answers. So traditionally, car buyers would go to Cars.com and then have to filter by where they live, by the model that they're looking for. Well, no, this time I can just go and could you help me find the best used F-150 on Car Gurus in Orlando, Florida? And boom, the system is going through Car Gurus and finding me the absolute best vehicles that are available within Orlando there. So you see, I'm no longer on Car Gurus. I'm no longer seeing ads. I'm no longer having to visit dozens and dozens of links. I'm putting the question that I have, getting immediate answers, and saving a bunch of time to find the most valuable information. Now, this is truly AI at the service of your prospects. This is truly AI at the service of your customers. But if your dealership doesn't have the content on your website that Perplexity or ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini is going to be able to go grab and bring it back to the customer, you are in trouble. If all you have on your websites are the little blurbs that came with your website template when your website provider set you up with your website, you are in trouble because your little blurbs are the exact same as everybody else's little blurbs. So it's becoming, moving into 2025 in the future, incredibly important to have quality content that these LLMs can go and pull and synthesize so that you can be part of the conversation. You can make the short list of these prospects that are going to be shopping for cars, service, maintenance, tires, finance, extended warranties. It doesn't matter what department of your dealership. AI at the service of your customers or your potential customers is going to be a game changer. And again, I'm repeating, we haven't seen one ad. So there's absolutely no way anymore to intercept that traffic or that prospect because you're doing a poor job with content on your website. So you're compensating by spending on ads. This is not going to be possible with this new way of shopping. Now, what else could you do to make sure that your dealership is well positioned to be able to service these customers or to provide this information to Perplexity, to ChatGPT? Well, you can use the tools like this one here to start creating in no time pages for the benefit of your dealership that prospects are going to be able to come across as they are searching for information on their next purchase. So I'll give you an example here. We're going to build one quickly together. Now, this is not a customer putting in this question. This is you as a dealership using Perplexity to create these content hubs for different models that you might be having. So let's say you are a Buick dealer, you're in the Toronto market, and you want to compare one of your Buick models with all the different competitors so that when people are Googling for the Mazda CX-5, your piece of content comes across. So we'll put that query. We're going to let Perplexity find the information. And we're going to do this quickly. Obviously, we could get a little fancy in terms of how we're going to be doing this, but you'll see very quickly the absolute power of something like this. So it's putting head to head your 2025 Buick Encore versus the Mazda CX-5, and it's providing this favorable information leaning towards the Buick Encore versus the Mazda CX-5, and it's providing a bunch of information. Now, I've chose Old Mill Chevrolet Buick GMC. They're in Toronto, so this is a dealer. I could say, why is Old Mill Chevrolet Buick GMC the best place to buy a Buick in Toronto? And now it's going to bring in this particular information. It's going to add it to my search. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm kind of helping Perplexity create a piece of content that is very favorable for my store. If I was part of the Old Mill team, for example, I would have all this information favoring the Buick over the Mazda CX-5, and then I'd have a piece of content here angling or pointing to Old Mill, our dealership, in terms of purchasing that vehicle. Now, here's what you can do. Once you're happy with this particular search query, you can go here, click on the three dots, and then you can convert to a page. Now, what it's going to do is that it's going to convert this particular search query into a page that's going to stay on the internet. So I can go back in it because it's a page and add whatever I want to the title of the page. I can even go in and start adding some particular media. Maybe we want to add a video like that. We can even start adding things. Let's say we want to add some financing a Buick. So what I'll do here, you'll notice I'm going to put financing a Buick, and then I'll add a very specific page within the Old Mill GM's website that talks about financing a Buick. And then I can add an image here, take straight from the website. Then I can do the same thing for trading in my Buick at Old Mill GM, and then we can add some nice images. So now we have a beautiful page with a video, with all the information. It favors the Buick Encore. It obviously positions Old Mill GM as the dealership within Toronto to acquire that vehicle, and we're happy with this page. Now we can publish it, copy the link, and we have this page that is now permanently on Perplexity that Google is going to be able to index, and that is going to be favoring Old Mill. So if I click on any of these links, for example, boom, I'm into Old Mill's website on the finance page, and I can now interact or get approved immediately from there. So it's creating a really powerful backlink within the Perplexity environment, and now it's sending me straight to the inventory page of Buick as a brand. I hope I was able to show you the power of positioning your dealership for the future. The way people are shopping for cars and everything relating to any department of your dealership is dramatically changing from so many aspects. And if you embrace AI and you embrace the idea of educating yourselves as to how AI is going to impact the growth of your dealership, you will come out of this massive transformation a winner. But for those who refuse to embrace what's happening right now in the car business in terms of how people are shopping for vehicles, parts, service, maintenance, tires, again, anything relating to the dealership, are going to end up on the other side of this transformation completely obsolete. If you would like to know how you can leverage the best AI tools right now that are moving the needle for dealers, that are providing traction in terms of growth for all the departments, make sure to subscribe to the channel, or even better, schedule a spying session with me where we will go using AI and look at every one of your competitors in your market. What are people right now searching or using in terms of keywords to find your competitors, to find the vehicles that they're about to buy, to find all the different departments of the dealerships that you're competing with. And we will make sure to use AI to provide a strategy that's going to position your store in front of every one of these queries in every single platform that's available right now using AI, and not just Google, and make sure that your website also has the content that these LLMs are going to be able to crawl and add to their knowledge so they can serve that information to your customers and make sure that you end up on the winning side of this AI transformation. Like I love to say, let's sell some cars.